In our last video, we talked about how to purchase a vehicle. I mean, the procedures you need to take before purchasing a vehicle. But purchasing a vehicle is not all about coming to buy it. I know that there is an after sale. What happens after you have purchased the vehicle? That's why today we are doing this video, because today I'm telling you what to do when you have purchased that vehicle of yours. The first thing you need to do after you have purchased that vehicle of yours is actually updating the paperwork of the vehicle. And what do I mean by this? Updating the paperwork of the vehicle simply means after you have purchased a vehicle, let's say it was a directly imported vehicle from Europe, and you have purchased the vehicle. It's true, initially it has to have some papers at initial cost, such as the custom document, and if it's in a case where the vehicle has already been used, it will have other documents, even such as the taxation documents and all the rest. But let's take into consideration that this vehicle has never been used, so it just has the custom document. So you see, you have to go into the procedures of doing the different documents, such as the taxation documents, as I earlier mentioned, the insurance document, and the other documents, other documents such as le document de non-gas, which actually ensures that the vehicle has not been into any background problem. So all these documents have to be updated. Other documents in case the vehicle has already been used, as I earlier mentioned, such as le dossier d'immatriculation, the immatriculation document. You see, these are documents that actually contains the name of the owner of the vehicle. So if you are buying the vehicle from somebody that had already used the vehicle, you see that it is quite important for you to redo this document, update this document, so that it should now have your name. This will actually help eliminate you from so many different problems that you would have encountered if you didn't do. Let's say you purchased the vehicle from the previous owner, and right now you are now using that vehicle without actually updating this. What if that owner comes one day and still reclaims the vehicle, since the immatriculation documents of the vehicle will still contain your name? Worst of the fact, if you are trying to resell the vehicle and you are reselling that vehicle to an individual, and that vehicle manages to be in some sort of trouble, you will see that this vehicle right now, if it has this trouble, will be directly brought to you, since you are the person that actually has the vehicle, because the document says your name. So the vehicle will actually put you into fault. The next thing you have to do after you have finished purchasing the vehicle, after you have come to the dealership and bought that vehicle, is actually changing all the fluids the vehicle has. The fluids of the vehicle, so many vehicles some of the times have a longer period when this fluid has been changed. Fluids such as the fluids for the breakage, what they call the fluid de freinage, the fluids such as even the oil of the vehicle, you don't actually know since the date that this fluid has been changed. So these are components of the vehicle that has to be redone. You will not actually go with using this fluid when it will bring you more problems in the long run. So it's important to actually consider to check and to change all the fluids once you have purchased that vehicle. The next thing that you will be doing, that once you're coming to purchase the vehicle, you come with a mechanic that will help diagnose the different stuff that you maybe by yourself will not have seen. So this now brings me to the next point of actually changing all the faults, diagnosing more of your vehicle. It's true, after you have done that in a dealership with the vehicle, there is no vehicle that is actually 100% safe from any damage or from any danger. So checking these different parts and actually updating the vehicle to be a vehicle that will be comfortable for you is something very important that you don't have to miss out. So you have to actually take time now to diagnose the vehicle once more and put it in situation whereby you will be comfortable and assured, you will have confidence while you are using your vehicle. The next thing, which is actually correlated to this point, is actually updating the vehicle, putting rechanging all the different parts that would have been broken down. It's actually correlated to the last point, but it's also very important, because different parts such as the tires, for example, the brakes of the vehicle, and even the wipers of the vehicle are parts that are not always very good when you are trying to rebuy a car. So taking time to actually check the tires of your vehicle, check the wipers of your vehicle, the brakes most especially, is something that is actually very important, and you need to check after you have purchased that vehicle. Also, you need to put anti-theft devices on your vehicle. This is a more important point. A point that so many of us shouldn't miss out. We shouldn't, walk around as if we are walking in the Garden of Eden. You understand? So putting anti-theft, devices on your vehicle, such as, GPS readers, such as other GPS devices, to, make sure that even if your vehicle is happens to be stolen, you can easily, refine your vehicle. So anti-theft, devices, putting anti-theft devices on your vehicle is a point that is also very important. You can also install devices that will not permit individuals, even if they happen to enter your vehicle, to easily take it away. So you have to put things that just you alone can handle when you're in purchase of a vehicle. So anti-theft devices will actually help your vehicle have a longer lifespan. The next thing to do after you have purchased a vehicle, and that I see so many people do, is overusing the car. Once you have just purchased that vehicle, don't try to overuse it. It has to be like a learning process. You have to learn how that vehicle is. The vehicle that I bought, does the brakes over respond? Does it respond less? How does the acceleration goes? Depending on the vehicle type, there are unique features that each vehicle has. So taking time to actually study your vehicle, it's just like an individual. You will not have just a new person coming to your life and you will just open up yourself, telling some kind of things to the person, without actually knowing the person very efficiently. The same thing happens to your vehicle. You have to take time to study it. Study your vehicle, study the way it works, study the way it responds, to your, to what you want it to do. Don't just purchase a vehicle and for the first week you're already going to longer miles, driving at high speed, putting brakes, so instantly. These are things that you might not have known that your vehicle doesn't respond to very well. So you have actually to take time to actually know the vehicle that you've purchased, before actually using it in full efficiency. Don't go immediately trying to go longer distances at the first instance when you purchase your vehicle. Try to do, inter-urban, distances, just from your home maybe to the supermarket, just from your home maybe, to your church, to better understand how your vehicle works, how your vehicle is. The next thing to do after you've purchased that vehicle of yours is to sanitize your vehicle thoroughly. Yeah, I know this is a point that actually feels so self-intuitive, but so many people don't do this. So many car users don't take time to actually sanitize the vehicle once they have used it. With the coming of so many, transmittable diseases, these are something that you can also pick up from a vehicle that you've just purchased. Let's say you purchased that vehicle which was directly imported from Europe, which had no, home-based user, but it was just imported from, an international country. You have to take time to sanitize your vehicle because you don't actually know the previous user. You don't know which skin disease he had, and you know that he has, he maybe probably with his family has been using the car so much, and they don't actually take time to actually do all this once they have, wants to sell the vehicle to people that export it, import it to your country. So you have to take time to sanitize your vehicle. Sanitize parts such as the chairs of the vehicle. If possible, you can even change the chairs. Take time to sanitize, the dashboard and all the different other compartments of the vehicle. So taking time to sanitize your vehicle after you've purchased it is something that is actually mostly neglected, but I advise you not to neglect it. The last and one of the most important points to actually check out after you've purchased that vehicle, after you've bought that vehicle, is actually having a sanitary kit. And what I mean by a sanitary kit is just like a first aid. A first aid will help you in case of incidents. This is not something that we wish, but something that can actually happen once you've purchased that vehicle. What if, let's say, you've purchased the vehicle and 2 to 3 days after you are into some sort of problem, some sort of incident? Having a first aid, something like a first sanitary kit, that can help you, do the first repairs on your vehicle, do the first repairs even on yourself. The first aid of the vehicle is something that is most important. Let's say you are going through an abandoned road, maybe somewhere that is not very inhabited, and you happen to have a tire puncture, for example. If you had this, this first aid of your vehicle, what I call the sanitary kit, you would have simply changed your tire without having any problem. Imagine you are more than 120 kilometers away from someone that could bring you all these devices. You will see that the time taken to transport all those devices to the location where you are is so much time that would have been used in doing different things. So having a first aid that can help your vehicle be updated, being taken care of at first instance when you have a breakdown, is something that is very important. As a summary of this video, we talked about updating your documents. Secondly, we talked also about changing all the fluids, the fluids that your vehicle had. We also talked of having a certificate, as I just mentioned. We also talked about diagnosing your vehicles and updating it from the different faults that your vehicle must have had. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell not to miss any of our future videos.